Europe in an alternative universe, where the borders are drawn based off the most common language in each region. So first of all, those poor Irish are back under control of the United Kingdom. I'm sure they're not very happy about this. Then we have the triple partition of Switzerland. Different parts of the country, of course, speak a little bit of German, French, and Italian, so each country has grown a little bit in size here. Belgium has also vanished, since some parts speak Dutch, the others speak French. Luxembourg incredibly has been saved, since a majority of their country speak Luxembourgish. Is that the name of it? Luxembourgian. Austria has also once again been Anschlussed by Germany. Let's hope Germany doesn't try anything else funny. But I do love that Northern Europe looks literally the exact same. See, they got it right. They're making sure they split up the languages and the borders perfectly. Even the Baltics are out here doing good. Belarus has been annexed by Russia, and Ukraine's biggest fear has been realized. The Russian-speaking parts have also been taken. Russia lost a little bit of land over here, though, I think, but they got some from Georgia. Oh boy, the Kurds and then Arabia. This map's gonna trigger so many different people. Catalonia's got their independence. They're no longer a part of Spain. Arabia is looking like they're forming their old Islamic empire. They even have this stuff in North Africa. But there is one for sure thing, no matter what type of alternative universe we're in, the Balkans are always going to be Balkanized. It's always just going to be a giant mess. Magna Sicilia, or a world where the little island of Sicily, the place that the Italian boot looks like it's kicking, has decided to kick back a whole lot of glutes around them. This map has no right to be this detailed, but it is. I also love that the Empire of Sicily has created different states for us to look at. So I'm assuming the big expansion from this island had to have happened somewhere during the Renaissance. It probably started with some sort of Venetian-type maritime nation. They got up like a couple colonies and they were controlling the Mediterranean. From there, they slowly took over the Italian peninsula, but not the Pope. They left the Pope there. And then slowly they ate away at the Ottomans while simultaneously taking parts of Carthage. And they have reestablished Carthage even to this world. During this time, Spain was not Spain. There was Castile and then Aragon. They took Aragon over nicely. And then at a certain point, if you just take over like this part of the map and you hold it for a couple decades, everything else is gonna come pretty easily, I think. I mean, a lot of this is the Sahara Desert. They conquered Egypt and went all the way down the Nile, got into Sudan, and even all the way into Ethiopia. I wouldn't be surprised if they're soon gonna be sending out colonists to Australia at this point. Are these vassal states or something? Is that why this is darker? So they are reforming their own Sicilian Roman Empire. It's hard to imagine like France and the HRE, the British, they were just gonna allow this to happen for so long, but maybe they had some sort of advanced technology. Maybe everyone wants to be taken over by them to get that Sicilian cuisine. So this is called a sunset invasion, or a world where the Native Americans were more technologically advanced, and they did some reverse colonization to the Europeans. So one of these groups is definitely the Aztecs, and the other might be the Mayan or the Inca. One decided to focus their efforts on Iberia, as they've captured all of Portugal, Spain, and even southern France. The other went after Africa. Even this continent isn't safe. From there, they got their own like Carthaginian empire and grabbed up Italy. For something like this to have happened, there had to have been like a really bad plague that happened in Europe that really cut down the population. Maybe the Black Plague was like 3 times deadlier. And then they had to have been making a whole lot of babies back in America. Maybe this invasion happened in like the year 2000. Maybe Europeans like stagnated technologically. But speaking of disease, what happens with the whole smallpox thing now? Is there a reverse smallpox thing that actually affects the Eastern Hemisphere people now? If all US states use the Nebraska/Maine method for the Electoral College, or basically it's not like winner take all in each US state, different regions can give their electoral vote to different candidates, even if they didn't win the majority in the whole state itself. So in this scenario, they put it over the 2020 election. Biden still wins, but by a much smaller margin. So like a really close state like Georgia that ended up going blue would have pretty much just been a tie, 8-8, electoral votes to electoral votes. But even some of the landslide states would still be giving some votes to the minority candidate. So Biden would have still gotten 12 out of Florida. Trump would have only gotten 17. Though it's usually a landslide in California, there's still 7 votes being given to the Republican candidate. And there's only a few states that wouldn't really change, like Alaska, Hawaii, Utah, Idaho. A lot of people are saying this would be a significantly better system, but then I'm also seeing that people are still complaining about the gerrymandered districts. That would probably still lead to a problem. But if Nebraska and Maine adopted this method, then who knows what other states might follow. Here's a supernatural Europe where vampire Austria fights a werewolf Prussia. I thought I'd never have to deal with this Twilight shit ever again, but here we are. Each country is broken down into different regions, different supernatural beings that might help them. Even surrounding countries have their own thing going on. So these half-moon crescents represent the werewolf populations, and the blood drop represents the vampire people. I would think there'd be more in Romania, but maybe they just have like the king vampires somewhere here. There's also golem-protected Jewish communities, and a couple of witch trials with these flames here. How dare those ladies learn how to read. We even have the Illuminati. I don't know what the Illuminati is going to do in this world, but they are here. As you can see, in the Netherlands, they're actually practicing a whole lot of reanimation of the dead at these specific universities, so they might have a zombie division they're ready to deploy. It looks to me like the vampire people are definitely going to win this, though. Unless somehow the werewolf Prussians unite with the rest of the German werewolves. Maybe get some of that zombie technology to help them out, too. Oh, don't forget about the Illuminati state of Bavaria. And there's also a couple of free cities, too. The Italian Empire, except we have all of the endings unlocked. So we have the first ending. It's like for all the noobs that don't know how to play as Italy. The Etruscans defeat the Latins years before the birth of basically the two Roman dudes, Romulus and Remus. The ancient Italians are now slaves. There's the Greek ending, where the Greeks replace Rome as the superpower in the Mediterranean. The Ostrogothic ending. These people were never conquered by the Eastern Roman Empire, so they overcame the Italian peninsula. The divided ending, where you get pretty far in the storyline, but you just can't make it through that climax. They were never able to actually form in Italy, so they stay divided forever. The Catalonian ending, where Aragon never unites with Spain, and they remain in control of the Italian boot. The Pope ending, where the country has become a theocratic state. Its official language is Classical Latin. Gotta love the Norman ending, where the Normans not only conquered northern France, but also southern Italy and Sardinia and Corsica too. Here's the absolute worst ending you can ask for. Carthage conquers Italy, and now Western civilization is gone. Ooh, that's horrifying. The Neo-Roman ending, which I think most people knew was going to be on this list. Italy restores the Roman Empire after winning WW2. The official language is Classical Latin, and ancient Roman culture is restored. Now, they don't have their old Byzantine territory, but they made up for it with the Arabian Peninsula. Man, this is just a whole lot of desert. Have fun with all that. And finally, the best ending. The Roman Empire never collapses, making Italy the strongest superpower in the world. You gotta play through the game like at least a dozen times and get all the other endings before you can unlock this one. It's what everyone wants, though. But choose your path. Which one is your favorite Italian ending? Surprised there's no, like, no, Germany comes down and just is tired of their ally, conquers Benito Mussolini after WW2. The territory of Alsace-Moselle, or Alsace-Lorraine, I always have trouble pronouncing this one, voting to remain independent after WW2 was over. So this has been a highly sought-after region between both France and Germany. It's been controlled by both at different points in history, but this is from a universe where apparently after the No-No Germans have fallen, this region was allowed to stay independent until a referendum vote came up in which the population could choose if they wanted to join France. The poster is made in both French and German, since the population in this area would speak both, probably. And this specific image is trying to get their people to vote for the status quo or remain independent. This also used to be an actual flag they used to do for a little bit there. And here's what this world could possibly look like in the Federal Republic of Alsace-Lorraine. And you know what's weird? I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but this doesn't look that bad. Maybe it'd be a good thing to keep France and Germany separated after 2 world wars. I could see this strange alliance forming around the lowland countries, this new one that formed in maybe Switzerland, the anti-French and German coalition. You know, these little guys probably got to stick together. The thing is, would this probably have the opposite effect and maybe end up causing more attention, though? I feel like it might. Both countries are just drooling to get this country back. Here's an election that seems like it's in an alternative universe, but it isn't. This was a general election held in 1924. Neville Chamberlain, a part of the Unionist Party, versus Oswald Mosley, a laborer. What in the hell? Oswald Mosley, for those that don't know, was basically a fascist Walt Disney. Not that he had any comparisons to Walt Disney. I just think he kind of looks like him. He's the guy that pops up in Hearts of Iron 4 when you turn the United Kingdom into fascism. Crazy to see he was a part of the Labour Party. Isn't that like the left-wing party there? What the hell happened? He lost by literally 78 votes to the future leader of the UK, Neville Chamberlain. This definitely is an election that doesn't seem real. It's quite scary. Here's a gorgeous map showing if Germany reunited 30 years earlier as a part of the 1848 revolution. So this map is showing the world at 1914, and it seems like there's really no reason to have a WW1 when Germany's like already winning in Europe. Thick old German borders, there is no Austria-Hungary, but there is a big Hungary, and they clearly have some sort of sphere of influence on all of these powers. Maybe Germany would still want to start a great war just to get even bigger. The Russian monarchy is still here because the Soviets have not had anything happen yet. There's no red revolution at the moment. Then we have a big old thick German African colony right here in the middle. I love these maps that just show us like sphere of influence, but at the same time, like no one is influencing South America. That's sad. The US has influence over Panama, Colombia, Venezuela. Something bad happened to Spain since we have America and Cuba here. Japan has not become no Japan just yet. At least I don't think so. But they haven't gotten these German territories just yet either. So Germany still has a lot of control over their Pacific stuff. I wonder how exactly the world explodes into war now. Because yeah, I take it back. They're probably going to want more. They're probably going to want to take some more stuff in Africa, or at least weaken the British. Also, where the hell did Chile go? They're just gone. I'm just going to assume this new Central Powers is going to be a lot harder to stop than the first version. Maybe Italy will actually join their side this time too. A world where the states of Dakota have basically been turned into a strange Korean peninsula almost. We have the People's Republic of Canada, so I'm assuming they are probably communist. Yes, look at those leaves and the formation they're forming. They supported the Democratic People's Republic of Dakota, probably a communist satellite state, and the United States still backing the blue side, probably the real democracy here, the Republic of just regular Dakota. They wouldn't include South and North, though I'm pretty sure they would. Maybe that's like their de facto names, is their official terms on paper. Loving these flags, though. I don't know why the US flag would change, but okay. So the war, I'm assuming, ended with the straight line. This was the 38th parallel, and did it play out exactly like the Korean War did? At first, South Dakota got pushed back to this little corner. The US joined in. We pushed North Dakota all the way back to this little corner. The Canadians with all their syrup and moose joined in, and then they went back in the middle. What a strange world. I've never thought of this in my life. You guys are very creative. Oh boy, the Federal Commonwealth of Europe, or a mega European Union. They forced the UK, I see, to get back into it. They even got neutral Switzerland somehow, and Russia is probably literally raging as both Belarus and Ukraine joined in. Even Turkey, they got a little bit of acceptance. Their anthem is still Ode to Joy. That's still the EU's anthem too, right? And capital city is actually Geneva. They switched it up. Yeah, this is a scary European Union, that is for sure. I don't think Russia would like this very much, or just a lot of people. They'd be very scared. Finally, this is what I'm talking about. What if Luxembourg had an empire? I've done a couple of videos like this in the past, but here's maybe a more realistic version. So Luxembourg currently has some claims to some of this stuff. Like, there is a huge state inside of Belgium called Luxembourg, right next to Luxembourg. So they can probably have that. And there's definitely territory in both Germany and France that they could probably get a hold of. They got that whole Alice place that we were just talking about, almost all of it. And somehow they have vassalized Flanders. Not sure how they were able to accomplish that, but all right. And this is right on the eve of 1914. So I don't really know what would happen. I'm assuming Luxembourg would be on France's side. I have no idea though. I mean, this is what is referred to as the Greater Luxembourg area. Maybe not as crazy as the other map was showing it, but you can see when they lost this stuff to Prussia in 1815, to France in 1659, they could definitely get all this stuff back maybe. They asked just like really nicely here in 2021. Who knows? And big thanks to the October patrons: Majestic Unicorn, Poppy Drew, iLoveMarx, Drew's Thick Breaks and Girlfriend, Drew's Argentinian Grandpa, AryanAfterHours, Bring Back Polandball, Alfonso M6, Barnsky W, Dalton D, Full Send Nick, Ivan Lima, Jesse C, LuxembourgLover, Max Cooper, McBlorf, Mine Brothers 999X, and Stormtrooper 501. Thank you.